Hey everybody, my name is John Lunn, aka Jonnychipz, and it's Friday again. It's Friday the 12th of March 2021, and it's Jonnychipz Weekly number 11. So, hi everybody. Thanks for joining me again, and welcome back to the show. Obviously, we took a slight detour last week because we had Ignite, so I did my Ignite special. But thanks for joining me again. So, I'm going to flip back to the original format, which is really looking at some Azure news and the Update Center. We'll discuss briefly what's going on with the Welsh Azure User Group. A little bit around Community Callouts and what I'm up to on the side. So, without further ado, let's get stuck in. Okay, we're going to jump over, as usual, over to the Azure Update Center, and we've not had as many updates this week, so it might be a little bit manageable if we can just run through them. I think we've got 9 updates since the back end of last week, obviously coming off the back of that fantastic week where we had the virtual Microsoft Ignite session. So if we just jump straight on in, so first update, we've got a new Norway East region that's been added for Azure HD Insight, which is pretty cool. Azure Storage, we've got routing preferences have now gone generally available. Python durable functions supporting Azure functions is now gone generally available. We've also got GA for Azure Function. It supports .NET 5 in production. Same then with Node.js 14 in Azure Functions. That's now gone GA as well. HD Insight, Apache Kafka, the REST proxy has gone GA, and we've got a new region added for HD Insight for Brazil Southeast region. In preview, okay, so we've got Token Lifecycle Management as now in private preview, and we've also got Azure Routing Preference is now generally available. And that kind of takes us up to the last week's worth of updates. Like I say, I've read a few bits and pieces on some of these updates. They don't apply to me specifically for any projects I'm working on at the moment. But, as always, we can click on each one of these links and delve into the detail a little bit more and understand what that means for us. As I always say every week with the Azure updates, I do tend to stay on top of this as best that I can. I mean, some weeks there are a lot of updates and, literally a skim read is the best that I can do. But yeah, I mean, I encourage people to jump on and just have a brief read to see what's coming through. What I find is when you're either working on a piece of project work, working with a new customer, you'll come across a particular thing and just because you've read it, just because you've skim read it, even me reading these out now, they kind of stick somewhere in that brain. So, when you're talking, something flicks and you think, okay, yeah, there was some announcement, so you can go back and have a little read of it. So yeah, I mean, like I say, I really want to try and keep these videos as short as possible going forward. Obviously, not to eat too much of our valuable time up. On that note, I think, as I just change over my little headings on my screen to the side, we will have a little discussion around the Welsh Azure User Group. So, we're just under a week away from our next event, March the 18th. It's our lightning talk session. We've got quite a few people signed up. I think we're pushing the 80 mark now, so it'd be fantastic to see you all join. If you haven't RSVP'd, then obviously follow the Welsh Azure User Group at Welsh Azure on Twitter. The links for the meetup URL is there. You can see we've got some brilliant community speakers coming on. We're doing a lightning talk, specifically lightning talks all for the March session. So we got Shabazz Dar, we got Mert Yetter, we got Baz Van Kam, Martin Copeland, Darren Robinson, Chris Reddington, and Rolf McLaughlin. So, and you can see there if you can just about read that on the screen. But we've got some fantastic. We've got a mix of topics, all Azure focus as you'd expect, but we're talking things, from Azure files, backing up those Azure files with Veeam. We've got Mert talking about Visual Studio and how you can use that for Azure. Baz is going to talk to us around the utilization of ephemeral OS disks, and how they can be used in WVD. Martin's going to discuss DevSecOps with us. Darren's going to give us some insights into real-world Azure migrations. And Chris is going to talk to us around GitHub and deploying and building a website and a podcast site and using GitHub to actually plan and deploy that. And then Rolf's going to talk to us around licenses and subscriptions. So really encourage you. If you can, it'd be great to have you there. We have some fun. We have a quiz. We have a few prizes. It's a great little community of people. Really great to see all the people that kind of come back and, month on month. It's fantastic. Thanks so much for the support. Obviously, from myself, the rest of the guys and gals in the Welsh Azure User Group, and of course the speakers that come to speak at these events, for giving up their time to impart their knowledge and hopefully help everybody just get that little bit of insight, that spark, that imagination to look into something a little bit deeper. And on that note, I think it's probably apt, because we've got that event. Next weekly video will be after this event. I'm going to give you a little bit of an insight into what's coming up in the April event. So, April event, what we're doing with the Welsh Azure User Group is that we've decided that the theme of keeping some lightning talk sessions, primarily if you're a new speaker, if maybe you don't feel confident enough to come up and give us a 45-minute talk or anything like that. What we're going to try and do, we're going to see how this works out, but keep the first sort of section of the event free for people. Maybe we'll fit 2, 3, 4 lightning talk sessions in. And really what we want to do, we've still got a list of people in our call for speakers, which a few people I haven't yet replied to. I haven't forgotten about you if you're watching. I'm going to be contacting you very soon, because we're going to line you up for the May, the June, the July events. So I think at the minute that call for speakers is closed, primarily because we've got quite a long backlog of speakers. So what we're going to do is we're going to get through those, and we'll probably reopen that back up in a couple of months. And like I say, what we want to try and do is encourage some of those new speakers, or just give them the opportunity to join us, have a bit of fun, no pressure. Come and give us a talk, a lightning talk, 10-15-minute talk around a particular topic area, and not to say the guys that we've got on for the April event are new speakers. They're clearly well-rounded individuals and got some great followings and insights into their industries. So we've got an airband, we've got Vukasin and Matt are going to come and talk to us around Kubernetes, creating Azure Visio diagrams, and then we've got Matt talking to us around Postman for VS Code, so using that REST API. And then the second part of the event is we call it a feature talk, but basically all we mean is that it's going to be a traditional sort of 45 minutes to an hour length talk. And I'm going to be mentioning Pete's name quite a lot again, going throughout this weekly update. But I'm excited to get Pete and Liam on to give us the talk around the robot arm, developing that arm with the .NET application and getting that controlled and deployed basically via Azure. So I've seen snippets, and I know Pete and Liam have recently done some updates to the talk. So really excited to have those guys on, and like I say, I feel like Pete's little lapdog at the moment. I call him out every week, but it's justified as far as I'm concerned. Some of the work that Pete and Liam and the guys at Azure Live are doing at the moment is great for the community as far as I'm concerned. So I'm happy to be that applauder in the background, following along avidly, because it's fantastic stuff. So to get the guys on the April event at the Welsh Azure User Group, I'm hoping it'll spark some imagination there, so more people can see what I saw when I started following the guys. So that's about it for the Welsh Azure news, or the updates. Like I say, huge thanks to everybody that is obviously followed us, has attended events, and continues to attend events. It's hugely appreciated, of course. So on that note, I'm going to cut across now. We're going to have a little bit of a community call out. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I seem to be stumbling across my my web pages. So let's get back over to my desktop. So community call out. First thing I wanted to do is that this probably fits on Jonnychipz on the side, but for those that have been following, I'm starting to get deeper and deeper into the whole Azure IoT. Still got a huge amount to learn, but I'm certainly doing a lot of learnings outside of my 9-to-5 job, in my free time, and obviously from a Pluralsight point of view, I just wanted to call this out because we've got Jürgen and Pete. They've both developed the, if you like, Pluralsight courses based on the course content for the AZ220 exam. So I've literally started watching this a day or so ago. I think I've just about completed the first module from Pete, which, if you follow them chronologically, I'm not sure that they've got every module covered yet in the skills measured, But I know Pete is avidly working away getting that, and I know Jürgen, I had a pop-up yesterday to say that Jürgen had just released a new module, and I think between those guys, they're kind of covering the entire syllabus of the AZ220. So I've got my work cut out for the next few weeks. At least I'm going to try my hardest to watch through these. Like everything, my time is finite as much as we all have challenges. IoT isn't my day job. It's definitely an area that I want to get involved in a lot more in the future, and I can see me naturally getting involved in that a lot more in the future as my own job progresses. So all these learnings for me, I'm really excited by it. So I wanted to call out the fact that if you are thinking of AZ220 and you have yourself access to a Pluralsight license, jump on and give Jürgen and Pete a follow. You're not going to go too far wrong. Like I say, I've already watched the first module from Pete, and it's spot on. I applauded Pete with the clarity, the content, the kind of structure and the format that he's done on the course is really brilliant. So that was the first one I wanted to call out, Pluralsight with Jürgen and Pete for the AZ220 content. Moving along, I was quite pleased to see this from Rick Claus. He tweeted out the other day, and I did notice some announcements come out around sort of people were commenting quite a lot that Microsoft Learn had almost forgotten about the traditional Windows Server sort of learnings, and clearly Windows Server is still a huge core part of everybody's day job. If you work in Microsoft, you work in apps and infra, or you've got anything to do with compute in Azure, then you're invariably going to be touching Windows Server in some respects. And let's face it, as much as the cloud world is amongst us and it's on us now, hybrid is very much the thing that's going on right now. I think maybe when the cloud first started, there was some misunderstandings and miscommunications maybe, or expectations that people would just flock to the cloud and then the traditional on-prem would be forgotten about. And personally, I was always a bit of a, I wouldn't call it a pessimist on that front, but I was always a little bit of a realist, I suppose, in that, with my background, I understood what a lot of businesses had on-prem. There was a lot of legacy applications running, and lots of companies just either don't have the time, don't have the energy, don't have the skills, the resource, the cost, the finances to keep on top of their estate, rightly or wrongly. That's just the reality of things. So I think just to boil all of that back down, it was great to see this from Rick actually when he tweeted out around Microsoft Learn now have actually got some learning pathways around that traditional, if you want to call it that server deployment, the configuration administration of Windows Server. So you can see, if you can just about read my screen, or I'll read it out, it's Windows Server 2012 or 2016. So they talk about basic security best practices, talk about Windows clients, OSs like Windows 10. They talk about working with command line tools and Microsoft Hyper-V and automation and monitoring using Windows Server. So I think it's easy to kind of forget, maybe that's the best way to put it, that Windows Server is at the heart of a lot of things that we still do. Even with the new fandangled containers, Kubernetes, serverless, Azure Functions. It's great to get lost in all of that new-ish technology, and apply that to your business. But let's not forget about the traditional side of things. So anyway, I just wanted to call that out. If you are an infra guy, an ops guy, and you want to gem upon some of that knowledge now, like I say, I don't think there's any updated exams. I've certainly not seen any since the old MCSA sort of reskilling from sort of upgrading your core server. It used to be that MS Learn or the certification process kind of had 3 exams to cover kind of that server architecture from a certification point of view, but I'm not sure. Let me know if there are. I may have missed them, but I think all the exams now are pretty much role-based exams, like the Azure exams, 365, the Dynamics, Power Platform, all of that good stuff. But yeah, if you know of those, drop me a comment, because I may have missed that. Okay, moving on. Benjamin Carbe. Okay, so Benjamin, I've not caught all of these sessions. Again, I'm calling Pete out again. It's a must. I really do need to get him on. I might get a little avatar, stick him in the corner there. Pete alert. But again, I've been watching a lot of these. I haven't caught all of these series, but it's around the LoRaWAN sensors. So Pete put this post up the other day. Benjamin retweeted it, and I just wanted to call it out because, I mean, to me, it's a little bit more technical. I don't profess to fully understand the in and outs of what the guys have been up to on this front, but I intend to go back down and watch it. But obviously, with a Microsoft IoT hat on, this concept of sensors, some input-output devices, sensors that are feeding into a system to feed back to an application to do something. My understanding is obviously this is based on radio waves and sensors using the radio spectrum and things like that. Like I say, I may be completely off the mark, and Pete, you probably are going to watch this, and you can probably summarize it in one line in a comment below. But I just wanted to call it out. This is an area, like I say, I've missed I think 2 of the sessions. I think the guys did about 4 or maybe 5 sessions over on the Azure Live Twitch stream. So go and watch it. They are sort of hour to hour length. They're quite lengthy processes, but I think it's great to see that, I mean, Benjamin, Pete, and Cliff are spending the time to kind of walk through this on a live stream, and the content is there. So as far as I'm concerned, this is really fantastic content to kind of get stuck into. It's almost like free training. What it is, free training at the end of the day, and hopefully it'll spark your imagination. Staying on the theme of Pete, this is Pete time. Just wanted to call out just Pete's update with the Pico producer. It was, for those that have been following along, Pete has basically gone and designed a printed circuit board. So rather, I think if you caught mine and Dean Ellaby's live solder stream, you'll see that we struggled quite a lot with soldering a lot of wires onto the back of the Pico producer. So Pete went and designed a printed circuit board, and you can see there he's got that up and running. He actually did a stream of his own showing how he soldered all the components onto the printed circuit board. He got it from this company here called Osh Park. I think he bought a few. He had them. He designed it himself using application on the computer, uploaded the files to a couple of different companies, and I think he's had a few different versions of that board made from the same design. So you can see, I think it probably took him, when I watched that stream, about 50 minutes to 45 minutes, Pete, I think it was. Compared to me and Dean struggling for about over 3.5 hours, and we still didn't get it fully wired up. So you can see the advantage. And I wanted to call this out because this clearly isn't close to my day job, but what I've learned from this is really that end-to-end process, from what it means not only to look at the application side and take in sensors, input, output, and do something with that, queuing messages, making something else work or activate based on what you're taking in, but looking at what Pete and Cliff and Benjamin and all those guys in that IoT space are up to, is that it's enabled me to kind of look at the physical device right the way through, from actually designing and printing off, using a 3D printer that's at the side of me, a device that can containerize, I use containerize, that's the wrong term, but can hold a bunch of components, physical components, and, make that talk to an application. That is my IoT device. So I'm having really good fun following the guys. So I just wanted to call out that little update there. Moving on. Big update for the Scottish Summit. Mark Christie and Ian, of course. I think they've managed to get all the sessions up on their YouTube channel now. So there were hundreds of sessions. A few weeks back, the Scottish Summit kicked off. You can see there, Mark has written there were over 375 sessions, nearly 17,000 minutes of viewing time. So they cover so many different tracks in there. I just wanted to call this out. Go and follow Mark on Twitter. I'm sure there will be links to all the Scottish Summit. There'll be links over to their YouTube channel. There's the URL. Go and give them a follow. Subscribe to the channel. Have a look at the content. There's so many great speakers, community speakers, globally. To be honest, it's not just UK. It's not just Scotland. It was a global event, essentially a global virtual event. So just wanted to call those guys out. Well done. Huge congratulations on a fantastic event, and anything we can do to support that by going and subscribe, consume that content. Just wanted to call them out there. Brilliant. Moving on, going back to the IoT piece. So Joey is one of the black belts at Microsoft in IoT for IoT at Microsoft, and the announcement of Azure Percept at Ignite last week was Microsoft have got back into the hardware business again, essentially creating, and I think I mentioned it on the last video, But these are the devices. So we've got sort of a vision device, we've got an audio device. I don't know which one is which. You've got a few different IoT devices. You can see that, just see there 1, 2, and 3. I can't quite read what they are. I mean, I can see there's a camera there, so I'm assuming that's the vision device. One of them's an audio device. Let's assume it's that one. And I can't quite remember what the third one. I think, is it a bunch of sensors? Maybe wrong. But the point is, this is really interesting to me. I wanted to call this out to people now, because essentially where Microsoft are moving with this is selling these kits, these sensors. Maybe they're development kits at the moment, to kind of develop applications and understand how they can be sort of utilized. So they've covered the whole bunch of sensors essentially. So I just wanted to call it out. Look, Microsoft have got some more hardware in the market. It's going to be really interesting to see where they go with this. I'm certainly going to try and learn as much as I can around it anyway, and see what I can do. Might even try and blag myself one of those kits, or buy one at some point soon. But anyway, just wanted to call that out. I'm going to be following along with Joey, see where he goes with that. It looks really interesting. Right, back to local. Just wanted to call out Gregor and Richard again. Jumped on their Ask Me Anything session the other night around Kubernetes. So as you know, or you may know, Richard is taking Gregor through this sort of Zero to Hero YouTube series on Kubernetes. Been fantastic so far. Some really great information. The guys jumped on YouTube, Twitter the other night on a live stream for an AMA, an Ask Me Anything session. So managed to get a good couple of questions in that the guys were able to answer for me, and obviously set me straight on at some stage after I get over the mountain of stuff that I want to do, things like IoT. Kubernetes is very firmly on that list, and so I'm kind of teetering around the edge at the moment for Kubernetes, but it's definitely a series that I'm going to get stuck into once I've got over, like I say, once I've got over these initial learning journeys with IoT and stuff like that. So go and give the guys a follow, subscribe to the YouTube, and you can watch all of these videos back now. I mean, I think they've still got quite a few more of the series to come. So great information. And final community call out. I just wanted to call out the Azure Live channel, essentially. You can see this is where I broadcast the In Conversation With series that I record every Friday at 6:30, so that's on later tonight. I'll touch on that in a second. But I just wanted to point everybody to the Azure Live sort of Twitter handle. Go and give the guys a follow. Give the twitch.tv/Azure Live channel a follow. You can see, I've talked about Pete quite a lot, but we've got the guys do a show, so John, Pete, and Liam do a show. I think it's every other Tuesday, maybe wrong. So it's every Tuesday at 12:30. And then we've got the After Dark series on a Wednesday, and then Pete and Cliff do the IoT Live, and of course, I'm doing the In Conversation With episode every Friday. And unfortunately, Derek has, obviously, as you know, Derek has recently had a new baby, which is massive, and he's decided just to take a step back for now, which you can fully appreciate, having a new young baby in the family. So priorities are set right straight there. So but of course, Derek is still very much part of the Azure Live team, and he's going to be going on behind the scenes, and no doubt when the time's right, he'll be back to it, and once he's got a bit more time to focus on that. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you can fully understand why Derek's made that decision at the moment, and obviously, good luck to him with all of that. Fun times. So anyway, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to call out the guys there. There's some fantastic stuff on the go. I know Liam is actively looking for new speakers, new content providers. So if you do have any ideas for a show, get involved. Drop Liam a message, because I know he's quite keen to kind of, make one big nice little happy family in the Azure Live sort of channel. And content is always brilliant to have on there. So that's about it from the community call out for now. So thanks for staying if you're still with me at this point. And finally, I guess, we shall move on to Jonnychipz on the side. So back over to my desktop. Okay, let's make a start. So last week, my In Conversation episode was with David Sadler. We talked IT recruitment, or tech recruitment in general. David gave some really great insights into what it means to from the business perspective when they're looking for candidates. Are there expectations outlandish? Are they reeling those in a bit? I mean, if you missed that episode, go and give it a watch, give it a like and a follow, a subscribe. David gave some great insights and great advice in terms of how to prepare your CV, what your sort of social media CV may look like, and what that means to you as an individual. So really, thank you, David, for that session. It's there, it's on the YouTube. Go and give that a watch if you missed it. And moving on to tonight's episode. So with it being Friday, 6:30 p.m. on the Azure Live Twitch TV. I got Mert Yutter on the show. I mean, Mert is a fantastic community leader in his own right. He's recently been awarded the Azure MVP status, which was quite rightly so. Some of the huge content and sort of interaction that he gives with the community is fantastic. I had a really brilliant chat with Mert around Azure and what that means for software developers, software architects, and he introduced me to Traffic as well. So would be great to have if you can. If I appreciate it's 6:30. There's meal time, there's kids to sort out. But if you can, by any chance, join us on the live channel, drop in and say hello. That would mean a lot to me and Mert. We can have a little chat. But if you don't, I mean, it'll be on the YouTube channel after the event. So looking forward to that one being released. Okay, what else have I been up to this week? Okay. Yesterday, I was awarded the MCT status, so the Microsoft Certified Trainer. Obviously, it's one of those sort of certifications, if you like, that I've been kind of aspiring to get over the last few years, and I think I'm not sure there's ever been a barrier to entry, but I just wanted to kind of call out why now that I've decided to pick up this award, really. And I think if we flick over to the to the how to become a Microsoft Certified Trainer Microsoft Docs website, the key thing that Microsoft have done at the moment is that they're waiving the fees. So I think to get onto the program, I mean, we'll get to the requirements in a minute, but traditionally to get onto the program, there's an annual fee, an annual membership that you have to pay. And I think it's around the 600, just over £600 mark. So it's not a small fee by any stretch of the imagination. And typically, the people that traditionally take on these MCT awards and are trainers, of course, and they work maybe for training companies. They provide training content. But at the same time, when we're now in this virtual world, of course, people like myself and colleagues and peers, anybody with a little bit of a technical background in whatever area it is in Microsoft, you may feel that you want to give a little bit back and do some training towards, whether that be for commercial purposes or whether that be internally with your own business or whatever it may be. So just wanted to touch on some of the benefits. So, like I say, you get access to the MCP type style dashboard, which has got links to all the MCT resources, the certificate, nice red certificate, and there's some little perks, discounts, bits and pieces available, things like money off exam vouchers and stuff like that. There's a centralized website, MCT Central, which I've got here, which you can see has got a bunch of access to all sorts of things. So questions to discuss certs, a little cafe, links if there's any jobs being a certified trainer, stuff like that. So it's a great program, and of course you get access to to Microsoft official training content as well, which is fantastic. So the requirements, really, it's for educators. Now, I suppose the reason I've been trying to get onto it for a little while is I've over the years, I've done a fair amount of training from an internal position in certain respects, whether that be, doing videos like this, talks internally with clients and customers and internal sort of colleagues and things like that. But it's really around sort of the requirements to get into it is that firstly you need to have, there we go, if I scroll down, you need to have a current Microsoft certification, and the certification are I think it's further down, so I'll scroll back up in a second. So you need one of these certifications. So there's quite a lot, to be honest. If we look at the Azure certs or the 365 certs, there are quite a lot. So I've got a few of these certifications. So I think from my point of view, I tick that box, so to speak. Second, you've either got to sit, one of these sort of instructional skills certifications, or you can have a professional reference, where you've got a reference demonstrating that you've done at least a year of instructional experience. So again, you can sit these courses, you can get the reference if you're already doing that kind of work, but fundamentally that's all you need. Like I say, Microsoft have waived that renewal fee, so I'm guessing next year it will potentially be back. And they actually they waived the fee until December last year, and they've recently extended it, I believe till June 2021. So I'm really pleased, really chuffed to get on that program. Obviously, I'm gonna weed through some of the training materials now and make some notes, and hopefully try and turn some of it into a few little bits of content that I can put back up onto YouTube over time. So yeah, I just wanted to call that out. So I'm really proud and pleased that I've managed to get that badge. So moving on. What else have I been doing? Docker. So yeah, I've finished off my book. I say I finished off. I've got a few pages to go of the whole Docker deep dive book here. It's a fantastic book from Nigel Poulton. Again, I'm kind of gearing up. I've also got Nigel's quick start or easy start to Kubernetes. Nigel's got a new book out on Kubernetes aimed at newbies like myself. So I've got that one. It's on the bookshelf, ready for, like I say, when I get into that track of really skilling up and jamming up my knowledge in Kubernetes and containers. So for now, I'm getting as much sort of background to everything. I'm having a little tinker, a little play. I'm doing a few bits and pieces. So yeah, I've been reading that book. So I advise that to anybody if you're looking to get into containers and Docker. My shirt from to support the Black Girls Code sort of amazing sort of organisation. So Scott Hanselman pointed this out. As you can tell, that's Scott's key catchphrase there. Hey friends, and my t-shirt came. So I haven't got it on at the moment because I've left it over the house. But there's my daughter holding it up proudly. Difficult to get her to smile, but yeah, it's great. Just a bit of fun. I'll be wearing that, no doubt, wearing it with pride. Glad to see that one came. Right, what else have I been up to? So yeah, but I've ordered some more bits and pieces. So yeah, you're reading that right. So I've got a little bit of an idea that I want to develop an AI powered cat flap. I've no idea how far I'm going to get with it. I may not even get to the stage of wiring it up, but I've got no instructions essentially. I'm going to have to piece all this together. But I bought a little motion sensor there to detect when a cat walks past this camera. So the camera there, it's a Raspberry Pi camera, so there's a little ribbon lead that you can plug into the thing, into the Raspberry Pi board. We've got night vision, so infrared on this to pick up images of the camera. My idea, I believe, has been done before, but generally what I want to use this for is to learn a bit more about sort of Python and coding this up mainly using the Raspberry Pi. It'll be a little bit of a proof of concept, so to speak, where I'm going to use hopefully Azure sort of cognitive services and sort of vision, so computer vision, to identify a picture taken. So cat walks past the motion sensor, camera takes a picture, uploads that into the cognitive services for machine vision, gets back a set of metadata, which hopefully will describe that there is a cat in that picture, and basically send a signal to open a little stepper servo motor to unlock the cat flap and let the cat in. Obviously, that's the initial minimum viable product, if you want to call it that, but that's the initial sort of thought. And like I say, it's going to help me understand how all these moving parts work. So I bought a few bits and pieces from Pimoroni. They got delivered yesterday. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I'll keep you updated. Don't hold your breath. I'll get into it as quickly as I can, but it's really just a little bit on the side that I'm playing with at the moment. And finally, I managed to get out on my bike. I haven't been out on my bike for months and months because of the weather and various reasons. Obviously, we've been in lockdown, so not necessarily been able to drive anywhere. But I managed to get it out, managed to start it up on the weekend. Great fun. I find it a release of, obviously just being stuck in an office all day, every day, as much as I love the place that I work at the moment. Just wanted to call out, it was great. So any other bikers out there, give us a shout. By the way, I'm a fair weather rider, so yeah, it's not like I'll go out in all sorts of weather. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I rambled on quite a lot again. I'm over the half an hour mark. I'll one day be able to get these down to sort of 5 or 10 minute videos. when that'll be, I have no idea. But thanks so much for watching again. Hope you've had a bit of fun, following along with what's been going on, what I've been up to, my thoughts and feelings. Obviously IoT is a big thing for me at the moment. You can see Kubernetes is very much on the horizon with containers. Meanwhile, I'm still doing my day job, kicking off a few big projects at the moment in work. So yeah, having a bunch of fun. And obviously that MCT this week has been the icing on the cake for me, and obviously all the community activity. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Don't forget, if you can make it tonight, 6:30 p.m. GMT on the Azure Live Twitch TV channel, drop in, say hello. Be great to see you there. Myself and Mert Yeto will be having a little bit of a natter over Azure and obviously what that means for software developers. Be great to see you there if you can. So on that note, I'd like to thank you all for joining, and we shall leave it there, and I will catch up with you next week. Thanks for watching, everybody.